Okay, so we'll be able to talk today primarily about results and discussion in doing your qualitative research. Now, we will talk about this important lecture into drafting your actual chapter 4 of your qualitative research, tagged as results and discussion section. Hopefully, later on, when you come back to school, be able to have the time to go to the library and browse over the actual thesis of uh, the students who have finished their thesis paper, so that you'll be able to have really um, you will have really a an actual document as to how the chapter 4 was created. So we will try to integrate the concepts from those that you have learned in chapters 1 to 3, which is your actual proposal, the coherence, interpretation, and even the thematic presentation of your data. And we will have to revisit your chapters 1, 2, and 3 to ensure really uh, a logical flow leading to the actual chapter 4. So these are some of the learning outcomes for our discussion. The very structure and purpose of the chapter 4, the results and discussion, and how you are able to effectively present and discuss the themes that will be derived from the data analysis that you will be doing very soon. You will have to integrate uh, the participant quotations or the actual direct quotations coming from your participants and connecting it with existing literature for validation, and apply the thematic or the content analysis methods appropriately. And you will have to review and polish your chapters 1 to 3 to ensure that it is aligned with your chapter 4, and to develop your qualitative research questionnaires and informed consent forms. By this week, I think your task is for you to be able to accomplish your research questionnaires. So for your research questions 1 to 3, you should have your research questionnaires prepared already, 2 or 3 uh, research questionnaires for each of your research questions. So you will have to prepare that for this week and submit it by Friday. And also the draft of your informed consent, meaning you will already write your informed consent letters uh, to your for your participants, and asking permission that you be allowed for you to be able to interview them, to talk to them, and so that everything that you do will be in accordance to the ethical standards or to the procedures in doing research. Let's start with this quotation. Research is not merely about uh, uh, it's not merely about collecting the voices. It is about transforming those voices that you will be hearing using your sense of hearing into meaningful understanding. And that is what qualitative research is all about. Now, this would emphasize the essence of doing qualitative research beyond moving data gathering to deep interpretation. And that's why some of you, when I get to see, let's say, the data analysis and even the conceptual framework and the research design, it will be very prominent that if you're using, let's say, quantitative terms like dependent and independent variables should not be seen in your paper. And even statistical analysis, such as you are going to be able to do a correlational study uh, and the other quantitative related tools that will be used, if that will be seen in your paper, immediately that is not qualitative research. And that would be clearly seen, especially in the conceptual framework, if you place there the dependent and independent variables and you state their relationships between your variables, immediately uh, I will be able to put an X mark with it, because that's not qualitative research. Now, we'll have to review your research proposal again. So you'll have to go back to your chapters 1 to 3 again and again, using the context, content, contrast, aim approach, or the triple C double A framework. Your chapter 1 introduces the very research foundation. Of course, there would be citations that you will have to be able to put in place for your context, content, and contrast. And in the background of the study, you have to provide or provides a solid contextual overview of the topic, linking it with the global or the national and even local perspectives of updates, latest development, so that your participants will be able to understand where you're coming from. Again, you have your introduction, followed by the background of the study, and then the statement of the problem. I've seen in the paper that some of you did not put the right chronological order. So be able to look back at your paper and put the right chronological order in your paper. Even in terms of the format that we are using, please follow them. Okay? When you write, for example, your introduction, it should be in paragraph form. Again, it should be in paragraph form. In the statement of the problem, you should be able to follow the format. Okay? Sentence number 1 should be the problem of the study is, followed by the second sentence, which is the actual citation that will tell your reader that there is indeed an issue. The third is the purpose statement. Again, there is a difference. Some of you, you put objectives. That's right naman. But our term that we place in the paper is that should be the aims of the study. The aims of the study, okay? And then later on, the purpose statement seen in your SOP should be aligned. And please do not be confused with that. I have already explained the difference between the two. Now, in your scope and delimitation, okay, please again, scope and delimitation. Some of you, I think, gave the wrong word of delimitation. It's not delimitation, but delimitation, because you are the ones who's putting up the boundaries of things not to include in your research. So the boundaries of the study in terms of the participants, the time, and the setting. And of course, the definition of terms. You will have to list the key terms and provides operational meanings relevant to the study context. And then chapter 2, again, would be your review of related literature. It has to be written thematically, and it should be more than 7 or 8 pages, double space. When I say thematically, there should be like titles, and underneath the titles are the information that you have gathered from similar thoughts of mine from the authors, or there would be a unique uh, information from the author that can stand alone with a specific theme. And then there should be a synthesis. Funny thing is that some of you, the number of pages of the actual literature is 2 pages, and the synthesis seems to be 2 pages then. You cannot see an RRL or review of related literature co-equal with the synthesis. That means that there's something wrong with it. It's either you just cut and paste your work and put in the synthesis. Again, in the review of related literature, that should be more than 7 or 8 pages, double space. You have to exhaust all efforts in securing the relevant literature needed for your study. Otherwise, will be questioned for that. Included in your synthesis would be the gaps. Again, there are different gaps which we've talked about. It could be a methodological gap in the methods. It could be a gaps in terms of the population. It could be a knowledge gap. Okay? It could be the other gaps that you may be able to find in your actual research. And then the third would be, go back to review of related literature, the theories, theoretical framework, and the conceptual framework. Again, in the conceptual framework, your research design would have specific conceptual framework. A case study would normally have a IPO model, and the ethnography and phenomenological would have the conceptual paradigm. This is with the figures and also contains the arrows. Chapter 3 would be the methodology. You have to explain clearly your research design. It's a qualitative research with citation, and the specific qualitative research design, which should be a case study, ethnography, phenomenology, or a grounded theory. You have to explain your participants. and how you were able to have chosen your participants, the criteria, and the sampling technique that you have used. Primarily, you will be doing uh, the purposive sampling technique and with citation. And then you have the data collection method, which is very important. You will have to create a table with two columns. The first column would be the research questions, and the second column would be the actual data collection tools that you will be using. We will explain that later on. And then you proceed with the chapter 4 and the results and discussion. So this is very vital in your studies findings interpretation. So this would be able to bridges the research questions and the participants' narrative. And the significance lies in you being able to demonstrate how how the data answers the research question, transforming the raw data and collecting it with the participants into meaningful insight. And you will have to highlight participants' voices through the thematic narratives. So you will have to be able to do your coding, your categorizing. Coding meaning you will have to be able to group together. Let me show you how to do that. Uh, Let me show you how to. Uh, okay, when you do uh, your actual coding later on, you can do it in uh, the Microsoft Word or Excel. For example, one assuming you have let's put a table. Uh, Let's see it. Okay, so you can come up. You can follow this format. Okay, in terms of doing your uh, results. Okay, so P1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 would be your actual participants. Okay, most likely, many of you would have around mga siguro 6 participants. So you'll be able to put the research question here in this column, research question number 2 and number 3. Now, when you do later on your research questionnaires, I told you that each research questionnaire uh, Okay, so again, when you do your actual research questionnaire, which you're going to submit, put your research question number one and the actual research question. It could be two or three. This research questionnaire, these are the ones that you are going to be able to give your participants. So let them answer it. So when they have answered all of it, you have to be able to put all together the answer in this particular column. Ilalagay nyo dyan. For P2, also here, P3, P4, and P5. Now, the first technique that you will have to do, okay, and this should be seen in your actual table, in your appendices. Okay, so ilalagay nyo dito, you're going to put your what your participants did actually answered, okay, whether in an interview or in the actual research questionnaire, you have to put it here. Okay, ilalagay nyo dyan yan. So when you have indicated all of the answers, the first step in doing your actual data analysis is doing the coding. So when you have placed all the words or the phrases or everything that you have collected from your participants, be able to highlight, okay, words that are similar. Kunyari, you can do it like a yellow, blue, green. Okay, you put it all together. Okay, first i-highlight nyo muna yon, the same color. Okay, and what you can do later on is to be able to create another table. Uh, coding. Okay, so what you will be putting here, kunyari nalagay nyo na dito, the actual transcription coming from your participants, and I'll be able to see here, let's say, yung mga coding ninyo, okay? So what you can do later on is to put all the color yellows here, yellow words, or the blue words, ganyan. And in the group, kunyari, yung four phrases or words, okay, would refer to what particular information or word. Ano yung apat na yon or tatlong word or phrases? What are they? And that you are categorizing them. Okay, you're putting them all together. So ano yun? And then from the category, you will have to translate that into themes. Okay? The themes would be the actual answers. Yung sinasabi ng mga na-categorize na words ninyo, it would actually be the themes. The themes in later on will be able to answer your actual research question. So magko-coding kayo later on. I'm sorry, this is not P1. Okay? So you can do this one. Okay? Yung na-coding ninyo, ano yung na-coding ninyo? Okay? You can put it all together. Then the categories of those coded words and the themes. What are those categories all about? What are they? And later on, you will have to be able to put the themes. Yung themes na yan, you will be using that to answer the actual research question in a paragraph form. And later on, you will have to be able to look for a citation that will tell your reader that indeed the theme is actually aligned to the literature or what the literature is saying. And the technique is that if you were not able to look for a literature for that, maghahanap kayo and be able to put that an additional part of your RRL. But you can do your own thing in terms of your coding, categorizing, and the creation of your themes or yung pagko-code nyo if you do not like to follow this format. The other students created their own, which of course I'll have to see and be able to approve whether it's clear, mas madaling kunin yung analysis niyo. Okay? So going back to the chapter 4, okay, so begin the chapter 4 with an introduction that restates the research purpose and then outlines how the results will be presented. Ito mga paragraph lang to. And then you will have to present the research question. Okay, research question number 1, ano yun? And then you will have to discuss the derived theme from the data analysis. Ano yung theme, explain nyo yun. And you must explain that and be able to put 2 to 3 direct quotations. And you will have to support that with literature or citation, including yun doon sa thematic niyo. So the relevance of the data analysis. So this helps organize and interpret the large amounts of textual data into coherent themes. So this identifies the patterns, the meanings embedded in the participants' narratives. So it ensures validity by connecting findings with theoretical and empirical evidences. So the types of data analysis in the qualitative research, it could be thematic analysis and content analysis. So both approaches will interpret meanings and the patterns, but will differ in the focus. But normally, the thematic analysis explore the underlying meanings, while the content analysis quantifies the frequency of the themes or the concepts that can be seen. So, but the most common analysis used is the thematic analysis. So in a thematic analysis, these are examples: identifying emotional resilience as a recurring theme in the teacher interviews, categorizing student reflection under motivation and growth, academic growth, and deriving sub-themes like peer influence and family support from the narratives. In the content analysis, you will have to count the mentions of, for example, climate anxieties in environmental awareness studies, measuring the frequency of words related to leadership in speeches, and quantifying references to teacher rapport across interviews. So rarely this is being used kasi nga you will have to be able to check ilang beses yung mga nagsabi ng word na gano'n. And in case study, phenomenology, ethnography, and grounded theory, thematic analysis is preferred because it focuses on the meaning patterns, experiences, and the social interactions, which align with the interpreted nature of the qualitative inquiry. Content analysis can complement it by quantifying yung paulit-ulit or the recurring ideas. So this is the data collection methods in the qualitative research. Yung naka-table na gagawin ninyo, or actually ginawa nyo din ito doon sa chapter 3. You could either do interviews, structured, or normally you will be doing a semi-structured interview, focus group discussion, observation, document analysis, audiovisual materials, field notes, and normally the case studies. But in your case, you will be doing interviews through open-ended research questionnaires, or you let them be able to answer the open-ended questionnaires that you will be distributing or giving them. So creating your research questionnaires, you have to begin with the clear and open-ended research questions, align each with the study's objectives, use simple and conversational language so that the participants would be able to understand and answer it clearly, focus on the experiences, opinions, and the perceptions, avoid leading or double-barreled questions. Then you can pilot test a questionnaire for clarity. Okay, you can probably ask someone to check on your questionnaire, but later on I'll also be able to check on that. and revise based on the expert feedback or the pilot results that you have done. Now, in the data gathering procedure, refers to the systematic process of collecting information from the participants that normally involves three key steps. You have to prepare, you have to secure permissions, which you are going to be able to do, design the instruments, in the data collection, conducting interviews ba yan, focus discussions, or observations ba yan. And in documentation, you have to transcribe, you have to record and organize your data for analysis. And this time, you'll have to do your informed consent in research. So informed consent ensures that the participants understand the study's purpose, risk, and benefits before agreeing to participate. So it would uphold the participants' autonomy and voluntary participation. You will have to do them that you're doing this for academic purposes only, that their names are not going to be able to be placed, okay, in the actual research, but of course you will be using codes. Provides transparency regarding the study procedures, protects participants from potential harm or misuse of information, and builds trust and ethical integrity in the research process. So this is some sort of a format, but you can actually check the actual examples of the informed consent forms created by the students who finished their thesis. The title of the study, researcher's name and contact information, the purpose of your study, participants' role and time commitment, the risks and the benefits, confidentiality statement, voluntary participation clause, and signature line with the date. So I guess yun lang muna, no? Those are the important parts. Let me end with this quotation. The beauty of qualitative research lies not in the numbers it yields, but the stories that you will be able to uncover. So qualitative research values the depth over the breadth. Each participant's story contributes to a collective understanding that informs, transforms, and humanizes the knowledge created. And so the activity for today, which you will be submitting, okay, in our face-to-face class, you have to polish your chapters 1 to 3 proposals. Ipaki-polish na po, no? And that should be ready. And crafting your research questionnaires, 2 to 3 per research question. I have to see that. Okay, and create a draft of your actual consent letter for your participants. So when we get to meet up, I'd like to see the printed research questionnaires. Okay, your research question 1, 2, and 3 with the research questionnaires. Okay, and the second paper would be the actual draft of your consent letter. Okay, so dalawa yung makikita ko for me to be able to approve. And then, once it's approved, you can already start your data collection. Okay, pwede na kayo mag-interview, pwede nyo na ibigay yung questionnaires yung once approved because pagkatapos yan, you may be able to start doing your actual data analysis. Pag nakolekta nyo na lahat yon, na-transcribe nyo na doon sa gagawin ninyong table, which you're going to be able to put all the things that your participants said, ilalagay nyo doon so you can start doing your coding, your categorizing, and the extraction of your data so that you can create your teams. Okay, so are there any questions so far? So please go back to your proposals, polish it, okay? And malapit na because it's already October. Most likely, siguro by mga third week, hopefully, of November, you'll be able to finish already your study para second week siguro ng November, para by the third or the fourth week would be consultation because in the first week of December, I will not be around. I will be out of the country for Kyungnam University. By the way, if any one of you is interested, sasabihin ko na, Kyungnam University in Korea will be offering free Korean classes. Okay, and the teacher would be um, um, a Korean teacher. Okay, so there will be free classes, I think 4 sessions, 2 hours that will happen during the file days. And hopefully by next year, if you're interested, that will continue on, okay, during the collab classes for 2 hours. Because the good thing about it is that some of you later on, grade 11, turning grade 12, if you're interested, there would be scholarships uh, for Kyungnam University in Korea. And there would be an opportunity also, hopefully by May Dao, uh, chosen selected students may be able to go to Korea for their summer festival as well. Okay, that's if you will be joining, okay, the Korean classes. Actually, it's a free trial courses. So, ano yan, the first 20 you would be able to sign up. Okay, that would start on November every file day at I think mga 2 hours yun. Okay, on our file day on a Wednesday. Ano ba file day nyo? Thursday. No, Wednesday and file day nyo. So you will have to come to school. So 4 meetings yun, 2 hours, and you'll be able to see Korean teachers and professors in St. Patrick's School. And that's all in preparation for the Kyungnam University. That's why I'll be going to Korea in December to be able to talk to this university for the memorandum of agreement and understanding with us. So, napakaswerte ninyo and you will have this opportunity. Okay? Sige, I think yun lang muna. So wait. I-end ko muna yung